morning to you all. Your Excellency, Dr. Talib Rafai, become one of my great friends here from the World Tourism Organization, the Honorable Mrs. Salman Rumi Rakik, the Minister of Tourism and Handicrafts for Tunisia, Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, members of the tourism sector, members of the meeting, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to be with you here in Tunis for the 4th annual UNWTO International Conference on Tourism and Media. CNN International has a long-standing partnership with the UNWTO and the global travel industry. This relationship is one that we place a great value, as we are acutely aware of the critical role that the tourism industry plays in developing nations. Economics, socially, environmentally, and politically. Both editorially and as a trusted advertising platform, CNN has been telling the stories of nations, not just through the tourism lens, but through the lenses of business, investment, development, environment, the arts, sports, culture, and of course, society. We are particularly proud of our close relationship with you, and with the UNWTO. We remain ever grateful for our partnership, one that does ensure that tourism is working for the people of tourism, as they are travelers or hosts. Thank you very much, sir. Today, given this honor of the keynote address, I'm also delighted to be speaking on a subject that is of great importance to me and many of my colleagues across the world, namely how to build a stronger partnership between tourism and the media. Reflecting on this subject, one which I believe raises subjects which are at the heart of effective journalism, it made me pause for a thought about just how dramatically the media world has changed, and as a result, how the needs of relationships with the media have evolved. Without dating myself, and please don't do the math here, I'd like to take you on a journey through the world of media as I have experienced it. While today I like to call Paris my home, one of the top tourist destinations in the world, my career as a journalist began in the United States, Chicago. In some ways, it feels like a lifetime ago, and that's because it was a lifetime ago. And yet I can still remember it as if it was yesterday. Up until that point, I wanted to be an electrical engineer, like my father. But I was working at a local newspaper when I was 17 as a switchboard operator, watching reporters coming and going. My passion for journalism started there. Up until that point, as my career had been on the electrical engineering path, I thought that that was the only thing in the world that could excite me. But then, the energy of the reporting process, the excitement of touching the issues of the day, being the first to know, and the one to get the story out, I found it magnetic and magic. I was convinced that for me, journalism was it. It did, however, take 2 years of university and some terrible grades in calculus and physics to convince my father that I didn't have the right stuff for engineering, and that journalism was actually about the only way that I was going to have any kind of future and earn my way in the world. I started writing for that paper in 1965, during the times when newspapers were the holy grail of reporting. Fast forward to 50 years to 2015, when in May of this year we celebrated in Paris my half century in news. For me personally, first and foremost, all those years, my love of journalism has not changed one bit. Why? Because I think I was and remain insatiably curious about just about everything. And journalism is the one profession where you can ask anybody anything, and then feel like you're contributing to making the world just a little bit better place by passing on what you learn. Many of my colleagues might say exactly the same thing. Interestingly, this goes hand in hand with my love of travel. Travel shows the way the world works and helps us identify with people around the globe. When I look at these two passions, travel and journalism, I appreciate that I'm able to dig below the surface to get an understanding of not just what happens, but why things happen. Travel always gives me insight on why things are the way they are. Seeing things that will open my eyes to how the world really works, finding the heartbeat within the story. As a journalist, this is an essential perspective and gives appreciation for diversity, yet the unity that exists out there in the world. This is priceless and timeless. Which brings before the fact that while so much has changed, there is so much that remains the same. From my perspective as a journalist, there have been a few changes that I've been fortunate to live through. Up until the 1980s, TV journalism was about sending in reports in bits and pieces. We sometimes didn't even see what a story looked like until days and sometimes weeks later. The final product came from an editing room somewhere. All this changed in the late 1980s and early 90s when we were able to feed entire story packages in from the field. And then came the age of live television, with the need to carefully manage the pressures of speed and accuracy. The mantra of get it right became get it right away. And now, with the advent of the IT revolution that Dr. Rafai talked about and the development of social media, the media landscape has evolved once again, even more rapidly and dramatically than anyone in the journalism community might have imagined. With all of these changes, and all the changes still to come, competition to get the story out is more and more fierce. Citizen journalism has become like a media tsunami. It challenges us to ever more speed and accuracy, and challenges us to become attention grabbing. For some, this quest, the quantity appeal of the story, as shown by likes and shares and retweets, can eclipse the quality of content and truthfulness. This is where the issue of relationships between the media, and in this case the tourism industry, becomes interesting and critically important. So ladies and gentlemen, in exploring the issue of relationships between the media, especially in times of crisis, I'd like to frame my point of view based on three themes: accuracy, responsibility, and transparency. I use this as a framework for my ideas because through all of my years in media and the last 20 years with CNN, these I find are the pillars of what is and what will always be quality journalism: relationships with journalists. Let's start with that first pillar, accuracy. In today's over-connected world where millions of lives live and breathe by the battery strength of their mobile devices, and anyone with a social media account can play the role of, quote, journalists, spreading information and opinions, accurate or not, that has become the norm. Social media, for all of its strengths and reach, speed, and ability to get to the essence of the story quickly, has one central weakness: content is never verified. For this reason, global audiences across the media spectrum are turning to mainstream media, like CNN, for confirmation of the importance and accuracy of stories. CNN, a brand I am proud to represent, has developed a worldwide reputation of trust for not only getting the story out, but more importantly, getting it right and in the right perspective. This trust has created a global following for CNN that's impressive: 396 million households and hotels around the world, 2.9 billion global page views per month on our websites, 160 million unique users per month, and we are the most followed news brand on social media with over 70 million Twitter and Facebook followers. Our credibility is our most important product, and at CNN we take this responsibility seriously. As we have since CNN was born 35 years ago, across the globe, our teams tirelessly work to ensure that what we communicate, the stories we tell, are truthful in context and complete. This principle of completeness is something which I've always kind of admired about CNN. Its commitment to the story, even when the rest of the media world may have moved on. Is CNN there when a crisis occurs? Of course we are, absolutely. We have an unparalleled global network of bureaus, crews, and stringers that make it possible for us to be immediately on the front lines of the story, ensuring that the story is being captured and conveyed truthfully. But it's not only CNN's physical infrastructure that enables us to cover immediately and accurately the world's stories. It's our relationships that make this possible. Across the world, CNN has developed a rich, long-standing, and genuine relationship network on the ground. As a result, when a story breaks, we have the ability to immediately reach out to people we know, trust, and can call on to give us the information we need in context, in a way that ensures the world gets the full story. And importantly, we stay on afterwards, ensuring that the world continues to get the whole story. As an example, we saw it in the Philippines with CNN's coverage of the super typhoon Haiyan. We saw it in Nigeria with the girls at Chibok when they disappeared. We'll see it again, and I'll be a direct part of it in the new year for the first anniversary of the attacks at Charlie Hebdo in Paris. CNN's definition of accuracy of reporting includes staying close to the story and storytellers getting the whole story during and after. My second pillar is directly linked to the first, responsibility. This has become an area which many in the media world, formal and informal, may not want to talk about specifically, especially as speed and traction of media have become the metrics that seem the most important. They seem like the most accurate way to look at media quality. When I speak of responsibility, this covers not just accuracy of content, but also appropriateness. Every day, everywhere in the world, CNN internalizes the responsibility we have to the story, to our audiences, and to our brand. In today's immediate media environment, be it in the form of words, images, or videos, things can be released into the worldwide media space without going through a litmus test of ethics and good taste. This has, in some cases, created a dangerous desensitization towards what simply is not right to show our audiences. Sadly, however, it has now become the norm out there, especially in social media. The communications ecosystem has been magnified by digital technology. It has become an ecosystem. The ability for anyone, anywhere, to broadcast their views, voice, and often venom can create a dangerous ego rush when that send button is hit on one's laptop or smartphone. We know the damage, often irreparable, that can be done to people, nations, companies, anyone, anywhere, when rumor is put out there as fact, and when opinion becomes more important than factual information. For this reason, and in the case of the crisis, information is still emerging, and we know there's a rush to be the first to get the story out, we'll not hesitate to express the need for caution around speculation. We all saw this most recently when a Russian airliner came down over Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, taking with it 224 souls. Immediately, rumors began to fly around about who was responsible and why. Until now, there is still no confirmation of exactly what happened. And until now, CNN continues to report that a terrorist act is the suspected cause. When we know for sure, we'll let the world know. Until then, the principle of responsible handling of this highly sensitive story will guide our coverage. Our media platforms may have changed, but our ethics and our sense of responsibility have not, nor should they. Finally, let me talk about transparency. This, ladies and gentlemen, can often be seen as an area of greatest risk when it comes to relationships with the media. But the truth is that it's the greatest investment that you can make. When a story breaks, be it positive or otherwise, the media is in an immediate need of access to people, access to information. When a crisis occurs, it's easy to understand why one might want to hold back or even hide from the media. But doing so will only fuel the media's need to know and strengthen the efforts to find out. By establishing and nurturing long-term relationships with the media, relationships based on trust, honesty, and respect, the ability for the media to tell the story accurately, responsibly, and holistically becomes possible. When a crisis occurs, whatever one might hope to hide will eventually come out. Don't try to hide it. The media is there to help you tell the story and do it in a way that enables your business and country to move forward through the crisis, focusing on what matters with a view towards recovery and rebuilding. Masking the truth will only damage credibility. And as I said earlier, credibility is the gold commodity in any relationship. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, and with these three pillars in place as the foundations of relationship building between the tourism industry and media, namely accuracy, responsibility, and transparency, the following are what I would define as guidelines for relationships building with the media, especially when faced with a crisis.